Ross Show, the living room edition. Yes, this is the Adrienne Ross Show where sports and culture connect. Hope you're having a wonderful day. We are going to talk a little bit of Caitlin Clark and her appearance on David Letterman via Netflix. Caitlin appeared on Letterman's show. My next guest needs no introduction with David Letterman. As you can see, I don't have Netflix, but I've seen snippets here and there. And I'm imagining that many of you have already seen the whole thing. So let's talk about this. You can see right here, episodes. Right here it says 3, Caitlin Clark, over donuts and duck pin bowling. Caitlin Clark and Dave discuss her record-breaking rise to WNBA stardom and learning to hone her competitive drive. Now, although I didn't see the whole thing and only saw snippets, over there on indie.com, it gives a rundown of what took place during this entire interview. Going to go to a little bit of that, and then I'm going to show you a snippet from the interview with David Letterman, and then I'm going to show you a little bit of basketball featuring Caitlin Clark. The title of the article at IndieStar.com is Caitlin Clark's episode of David Letterman's Netflix's show is out. How to watch. Whew, that is a headline gone really, really bad. Let's try it again. Caitlin Clark's episode of David Letterman's Netflix show is out. How to watch. Chloe Peterson. Come on, Chloe. All right. Anyway, it goes on to tell us about the whole episode. Indiana Fever superstar Caitlin Clark is the newest guest on David Letterman's show. My next guest needs no introduction. Tells some other people who have been on the show before. Tells you how to watch. And also, it says, what do Caitlin Clark, David Letterman do on My Next Guest? Needs no introduction. And it tells you that it starts off with them going to the bakery. You read more, it'll tell you that they're taking pictures with people there, that they end up, they go to Ball State, right? Yeah, go to Ball State's campus in Muncie, and they have their talk. It's open to everyone, but, well, it's open to those who could get tickets, but they had to put their phones away. Now it's available to everyone, and just the whole thing about the stardom and all that stuff. So it just gives a rundown. And here's a quote from, I'm trying to say a quote from a quote from Caitlin. Who knew that would be so difficult? That needs to be on bloopers. It says, it's not something you ever take for granted, Clark told Letterman in their sit down at Ball State. Getting to walk out here and people go crazy and are so excited about you, that's pretty awesome. And it's cool to see people wearing my jersey, but I don't know if I ever imagined to be on this level. I got to guess that when you're doing just what you love to do, when you're playing basketball because you love to play basketball and you're really good at basketball, I don't know if you can envision how huge this thing was going to go, especially when you were, first of all, you're in college and then you go to the WNBA, which was your dream. Yes, but it wasn't her dream because it was all the stardom, because that, it wasn't what it is now. So how could she have imagined that? And now it's like, you can't go anywhere without people knowing you and wanting a picture with you and taking autograph. And she's like, it's cool, but no, I just never thought that much about it. And so it talks about her decision to go to Iowa, etc. I'm not going to go through all this. Those of you who have Netflix, you can watch it if you've not watched it already. They go to duck pin bowling. And here is where it lost me. And I heard this on somebody's YouTube channel. I don't remember whose. I had heard a little bit of this and I just shook my head and rolled my eyes and said, here we go again. But Caitlin Clark acknowledges her privilege within WNBA. Yeah, I'm not going to get too much into this because I find it annoying. And I've already addressed this the other 2 times she talked about privilege. But I will just say that she says let me go down. She says, I definitely have privilege. I'm obviously white. And then she goes on to talk about the Black women who have grown the league, which of course she always did pay honor to people because she's just respectful. And she never had to point out that she was pointing out Black people. But I guess now you have to do that so that people like Asia Wilson won't be mad at you. I don't know. But I think she means what she says. But I also believe that at some point she's going to come to understand that this is not it. So no, I know there are people who are really excited because, you know, the people who didn't accept her before really excited when she mentioned, when she won the Time Award, like, oh yeah, she recognizes her privilege. Because of course, if she did it, Asia Wilson was going to tell her, ask Kelsey Plum. But when you start, like I said, I'm not going to get too much into this, but when you start talking about you're being privileged because you're white, obviously I'm white, I have privilege, and you connect those two things, and what you're saying is that you have privilege, which means I'm disadvantaged. I reject that outright. I couldn't reject it anymore. Okay. So I'm hoping that at some point she will get to the point where she recognizes that no, right? And that, yeah, you're privileged. So what? So I'm not because I'm Black. No, I choose to believe the scriptures, which let me know that I'm blessed and that God opens doors that no man can close and closes doors that no man can open. It's a blessing. I've got it. And that same blessing is available to everyone who will receive it. So moving on from that, actually moving up a little bit, they start talking about her being targeted as a rookie. And she said, well, I don't think I was being targeted. And we already know she had made some comments for the Time article about how it annoys her when people say things like her being targeted, or people say what Adrienne did was purposeful, all those things. She doesn't like it. She doesn't agree with it. And she said that again, that she wasn't being targeted. So I'm going to put this link in the description of the this video, and you can go read the whole thing. Or if you have Netflix, why read about it? You can just watch it, right? But I do want to show you a piece of this because this is really fascinating and just reminds us how talented Caitlin Clark is on the basketball court. So we're going to head over to Clark Report on X.
Speaking of videoing practices, there's one iconic scrimmage.
There is.
Yeah.
But nobody knows if it actually happened because
it
nobody
happened.
actually saw it.
No, you know what happened.
Yes.
She has a very cool, dry sense of humor. For some reason, it makes me think of Everybody Loves Raymond. You know, Ray Romano, he's got that dry sense of humor, which is part of what makes her so likable.
So we have a practice team that's just all guys. They have to be students at the university. They basically just volunteer their time, and I think we were down 15. So we like make a couple threes. We cut it to like 10, maybe. I don't even know.
Now, when you say we make a couple of threes, was it you or was everybody making threes?
It was me, but the points went to the Iowa Hawkeyes.
I like that. It was me, but you know, there is no I in team. Actually, I'm thinking about that right now. There's definitely a team going on because they're color coordinated there with their green. But I digress. All right. She was making the threes.
So I think I had 22 points in 2 minutes was the moral of the story.
I'm sorry. 22 points in 2 minutes.
Yeah, you hear the applause? That's worthy of applause. 22 points in 2 minutes. 22, 2 special numbers there.
It was funny because we had a high school girls basketball team there that day. So we had a little audience and we were up in our practice gym and they were like jumping out of their chairs going crazy. Usually I never react when something like I hit a big shot, or like I do, but never in like a shocked way. After like my 5th 3 in a row in like a minute, I was like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't believe it. I was like running around and we ended up winning, and our boy practice players didn't hear the end of it. They still don't. Like I still love to bring it up to them. We talk a lot of crap. So
You're talking a lot.
Now, you know what's so cool about that is that number one, there were high school girls there, girls basketball team, and they're getting to watch this display. And I'm sure they're like, oh my goodness, like she said, they're just cheering. And so they're seeing Caitlin take her team, put her team on her back, and turn this thing around in such a dramatic fashion. And you're going to know what I mean because some footage has emerged since this interview showing her doing what she's talking about right there. It was 22 points in 2 minutes. But it's also really cool because she's remembering it now. She's sharing it with him now. Well, later on, like when she's 40, 45, 50 years old, maybe her children, her grandchildren, how many times will she tell that story to them? And I have a feeling like when she's telling it to her grandkids, they're going to just be like, really? Grandma, were you really that good? And she's like, oh my goodness, let me show you the footage. Seriously, though, she's going to be able to share these stories of what she did in Iowa and what she did in the WNBA. And we have yet to see what she will do. And I know that because not even in college, but in high school, my biggest game was a game in which I scored 26 points and had 5 3-pointers. 5 3-pointers, 26 points, the biggest game I had. And I still remember it. I don't go around telling it all the time, but I guarantee you I've told it a few times along with some other stories. So memories are being made. Like not everybody's grandma been on David Letterman. Of course, they're going to be like, who's David Letterman? But still pretty cool. So now we're going to go to some of that footage. So supposedly this is footage that showed up. That happened. That's a 22-point game in 2 minutes. I didn't say that right, but you know what I mean. The 22 points in 2 minutes game against the guys. Now I got it. I'm starting to sound like Chloe Peterson. Let's go. This is from Catherine Reynolds on X. And Clark Report had shared this as well. It's where I first saw it. Now we are going to see 5 3-pointers. And not just any kind of 3-pointers. This is absolutely, well, you take a look for yourself. Listen, I got to stop here. This is just wild. Now, obviously, you want to guard the person, but nobody thinks that you got to come out here to guard somebody with the basketball. Even Caitlin Clark, like you're not thinking you got to come all the way out here. Who in the world has the nerve to pull up that far out? Caitlin Clark. Ridiculous. Now she's going left, crosses back right, crosses over, and just throws it up. Like that's the kind of shot, if it doesn't go in, the coach is in your face. Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? But it goes in, and it goes in often, right? So you're just like, you got to let her go? That's ridiculous. Here it is again. Totally off balance. It makes no sense. It's so cool that she actually has footage of this. I know she joked with Letterman, like, you know, nobody was there, so we don't know if it happened. He says, oh, it happened. That's just, I mean, that you talk about having no conscience in releasing the basketball. That's Caitlin Clark. So for those people who are wondering, why are people watching Caitlin Clark or Monica McNutt's interview with the lady, what was it? Kate. What was her name? Something Kitty, whatever, from BBC. Why are the little girls going to the games? You know, well, then you've got Eton Thomas. Why are people not following Paige like they're following her? Or, you know, Stephen A with his obligatory, we need to be talking about Juju the way we talk about Caitlin. Why are we not talking? Did y'all see that? That was in college. Then she stepped into the reality of the WNBA and started breaking records there. God bless her to continue to do what she's doing and to get stronger and stay healthy, because the show we can have the opportunity to see could just be, it can get better. It can get better. That's the thing. I've had people in comments who are just like, well, I don't know why the coaches are coaching her, because everybody else needs to step up to her level. Listen, Caitlin Clark has so much more to go. She's great as she is, but she's not as good as she can be, and she's not as good as, God willing, she will be. I appreciate the footage. Anyway, you guys can check out the Netflix if you want to. For those of you who've already seen it, what are your thoughts? You can get the comments about that. And then also 22 points in 2 minutes, and that footage, that's something else. All right. I'll catch you next time, God willing. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Thank you if you have. God bless you abundantly.